We're going to start back at that first wine and give a quick intro. So, starting over here, my name is Kevin Luther. We are Voluptuary and Lucid Wines, and I'm here with Jerome Luther, my brother, who runs all of our behind-the-scenes production stuff. And we are doing our fundraiser here for the Sacramento Sspca. And so we have some folks here from the Sspca who have brought some adorable dogs, which you guys saw earlier. You just didn't get to hear about earlier.
And you guys don't know this, by the way, but we said both of their names perfectly the first time.
So this first wine, the V2 Picpoul Blanc Tethered Sky, is a very crisp, mineral, lean style wine that expresses a lot of citrus characteristics, but also this really nice mineral note that comes through due to the way the wine was made. It was fermented in neutral oak barrels and then aged for about 18 months on the yeast lees, which the grape itself has a lot of citrus characteristics, but that barrel aging brings in more of this mineral seashore kind of characteristic that is a real unique aspect of this wine, which is actually now sold out. So those of you tasting this, is the last chance to taste it. You're getting the last sips of it. Literally, we are down to the very, very last sips along with you guys. So thank you for joining us for the last of this. So I'm going to do my pairings here, and we're going to finish by introducing our doggy pairing. So my food pairings for this are oysters, oyster mushrooms, kind of citrus seafood influenced foods. And then my life pairing for this, get on the right one here, is...
He's going to read the entirely wrong dog if he did that.
Right, I have to be careful. My life pairing for this is reading a book by a rocky seashore with your dog, jumping in the waves while you're reading relaxedly. And my literary pairing for this is it's not a dog pairing, literature pairing, but it is a nature pairing. It is from Terry Tempest Williams, naturalist and citizen writer. And the quote is, "To be whole, to be complete. Wildness reminds us what it means to be human, what we are connected to rather than what we are separate from." So I think it's really important to remember that we're part of nature. We're part of the animal kingdom and not to feel separate, to be connected to all the nature and the animals around us. And then my music pairing is Dog Years by Maggie Rogers.
Years?
Yeah, Dog Years.
Okay.
Yeah.
The first time I think said dog ears.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So yeah, you guys are hearing the more smooth version now. You didn't hear all of our bad jokes earlier, which is either a good or bad thing, depending on if you like bad dad jokes. And then my initial doggy pairing, before I knew these doggies, was a Shiba Inu, due to this wine's intense, energetic, and sort of sharp, intelligent characteristic. But I think the real doggy pairing, and we'll let them come up and introduce, Dulce is our doggy pairing that we have here today. So Marnie is going to come up from the Sacramento Sspca and introduce Dulce real quick and tell us just a little bit about the Sacramento Sspca.
Okay. So I'm here with little Miss Dulce, and she is definitely little, and she... this is not a sweet wine, but she definitely is. And dulce, of course, is Spanish for sweet. And we're here from the Sacramento Sspca, and we're actually located right around the corner from these guys at 6201 Florin Perkins Road. We are open up for adoptions. The one thing that's a little bit different, I'm kind of glad I'm able to redo this, is that we're by appointment only. So unfortunately, you can't come by and just drop by. You can look on our website of the dogs that are up for adoption, and all of our adult dogs are $110, and then our puppies, which are considered under 7 months old, those are $160. And you would just click on our website, fill out an application, and then send it in and let them know what dog you're interested in. And then you'll get a call from one of our adoption counselors that'll tell you all about these wonderful dogs, and you get an appointment to actually do a great meet and greet. So Dulce here is 12 years young. You want some water? She's like, man, maybe not.
No, maybe she was just sticking her tongue
She's
out. She's
so funny. I know. Or you want the wine. That's what you want. Okay. So she really likes adults. Not so crazy about the little guys. She likes dogs. In fact, actually, our other dog that we brought, JJ, they're kind of making eyes at each other. So I think we might have to do a little introduction to the two of them and see if they like each other. She's a total lap dog. She's also kind of pretty independent too. And she's also qualifies for what we call our senior to senior program. So if any of you guys out there are 65 and over, we would actually waive her $110 adoption fee. So she would just love to sit on your lap while you sip some fabulous wine and maybe watch a movie or two. That's Dulce. Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, guys.
Cool. So that was our first wine and doggo pairing. So thank you guys again for bearing with us through the sound issues earlier. Now we're back on course and ready for our second wine, the L2 Urban Flora Rosé. So this wine is a really fruit-forward, fun wine. It's our best summer seller, and I think in this kind of heat right now, with some of you folks watching today are here in Sacramento, and yeah, we were I think like 114 today, so that'll be just normal Sacramento weather. And a nice, refreshing wine like this, ice cold, super refreshing. I actually borderline froze this earlier and drank it as a frosé.
Mm-hmm. It's a good way to do it.
Tasty, yeah.
It's really like, I'm jumping ahead into the pairings a little, I guess, but it's a perfect, as you said, summertime wine. If you're down by the river or you're gardening or just, hanging out with the AC that can't quite keep up, this is a great way to, refresh. It's not a deep, dark winter wine. It's definitely one for the heat and keeping cool.
Exactly. It's so the reason why it has all these characteristics is it is from Barbera Pinot Noir. This is our new vintage of this wine. And I leave it on the grape skins for just a couple of hours. So that little bit of skin contact with the skins of the red grape with the juice gets a little bit of extraction of that red color and red fruit flavor into the wine. Whereas if you're making a red wine, you might leave it for 2 weeks and get a lot of dryness and heaviness and very dark red flavors. But leaving it for just a couple days, you get enough to get this sort of color. But a nice intensity of red fruit, but also some sort of tropical fruit and floral notes that I think are cool. This has some crispness to it, like a hibiscus or cranberry. It has some tropical fruit floral notes, like a lemongrass or, I don't know. This is a super aromatic wine. I want to describe it for hours.
Yeah, no, I agree. And a lot of those things that you mentioned, and is also like, it always brings to mind for me, like Thai basil or like roses, like things that have like a little bit of a herbaceousness, but like a lot of floral notes. Like it definitely has the light fruit, the cranberry, hibiscus, strawberry, watermelon, but like those floral notes to me stand out even more so, especially when smelling it. It just smells like a bouquet.
Yeah, super aromatic wine. So it's a very fun wine, summertime wine. Pairings, you mentioned the Thai basil. It goes really well if you do a Thai cucumber salad with Thai basil and mint and cilantro.
Yeah, and you can do that all sorts of ways. A great way to do that is, with cucumber or watermelon or even like nice sweet tomatoes and then some Thai herbs like mint, Thai basil, cilantro, and then a classic Thai sauce of lime juice, fish sauce, and Thai chilies, because that brings in some of the notes that you don't taste in this, but that balance it. You get the funkiness, you get the spiciness, and it just kind of rounds out the flavor profile.
So I think those are really nice pairings. Watermelon or any kind of fruit or vegetable with like a little salt and chili pepper and lime, Mexican style is really nice with this wine as well. And then my life pairing with this, I think, fits the mood of this wine. Sunset drinks with friends, hanging at the beach, festival life, walking your dog at the dog park, all that sort of stuff. And then
are you allowed to walk your dog while drinking? I don't know really the legalities.
Yeah, sure.
Officially approved.
Yeah.
Got it.
And if you're not, then I don't know if you guys know this trick, but I don't
brown bag.
I don't
know.
brown bag that much too. But I don't think it's a coincidence that an entire 750 milliliter bottle of wine fits perfectly into a Starbucks Trenta cup and looks remarkably like coffee. So, little trick for the dog park. And
you guys see that right there?
Oh, there we go. He got his bag technique.
Linen bag.
And then my music pairing for this is Mama Told Me Not To by Three Dog Night. And my literary pairing is from Dean Koontz, and it is petting, scratching, and cuddling a dog could be as soothing to the mind and heart as deep meditation, and almost as good for the soul as prayer. think that's really true. Like, I'm a huge animal lover, and I cannot meditate for the life of me. But like, totally, like, petting an animal and just sitting there like relaxedly petting or cuddling with an animal is a total like meditative experience for me. It like
communing with
lowers,
nature.
lowers the heart rate. Like,
Well, it's sort of like it's like that effect with like sleeping with a baby, where like your heart rates start to attune to each other, or walking with somebody and your footsteps align. Doing that with a dog, like a lap dog, as she was describing, then you just sort of get in tune with each other and you help each other relax rather than like going at it alone.
yeah,
That's what emotional support animals are for.
right? Yeah. So grateful to dogs for all that. So then my doggy pairing is a French bulldog, because I think this wine is just really lovable and loving, kind of happy and friendly, like a French bulldog. I don't know. Feel free. You guys know dogs better than us, so feel free to throw out some dog pairing suggestions as well from the audience. Yeah, so then my very specific doggy pairing for this, from they have all these dogs that are available for adoption, and not all of them were able to come in today, but I flashed them on the screen when we were starting. I'll flash them again in here in a moment. Arya, a 5-year-old Staffordshire Terrier mix, whose adoption fee is $110.
It's pronounced Worcestershire.
Well played, well played. So Arya is your all-around outdoors dog, and she would love a family that would take her to the snow, go camping, and play fetch. She is such a sweetie. She lived with young kids aged 2 and 5 years old and adored them. She also likes other dogs and may be okay with a cat friend. Lastly, this cutie also knows sit and down.
Yeah, and the reason we didn't bring all of the dogs on tonight is, well, I mean, for a variety of reasons, but a big one is that some of them have appointments later tonight to meet with potential, what do they call it? Forever homes, and don't want to put them in a situation where they're changing their scenario too much, and that throws them off their game. They got a big date tonight, and they need to prep, so, they get a pass. We'll play with the rest of them.
Cool. So I'm going to flash the screen over real quick to our...
For your mother and your sister.
There we go. Back to our screen. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that wine and the pairings and doggy pairing. Now we are rolling right into our next wine, the V4 The Source Light Red Blend. So actually, I'm going to switch up glasses just for fun. I like to do that. I like to use 3 or 4 glasses when possible, for no particular reason.
Yeah, it's not like I do the dishes anymore.
Harsh. So this wine is our most popular blend from Voluptuary. It is a blend of Pinot Noir and Grenache. And so 2 lighter red grape varieties that are prone to bringing in sort of strawberry cherry type fruit flavors and a little bit of spice. You're going to notice in this wine a real like cinnamon, clove, vanilla kind of note going on.
Yeah, it's really got those warming spices. It kind of reminds me of like a cinnamon bun almost.
Yeah,
you got those that spiciness, but not like a chili black pepper spiciness. Well, maybe a little bit of black pepper, but not like that heat. It's more got the cinnamon, the clove, the nutmeg, like your baking spices.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it does like integrate those aspects of that warm baking spices, some really nice red fruit. And then there's overall a really smooth palate to this wine. It does have some sharp points, some dryness and some spice, but more than anything for me, it comes through with a really smooth palate that's nicely balanced. And I think that's common in blends because blends do tend to round out some of the harsh edges. This wine was made by a little bit of whole cluster fermentation as well as some crushed grapes and some whole berries. So a nice mix of fermentation techniques, and then aged in a mixture of new and used French oak barrels, and some cherry wood. So one of the alternative things that I do, those of you guys have been watching for a while know this, is coming from a woodworking family, they always ask me why we only use oak in wine, and boiled down to that it makes the best barrel, but other woods add really cool flavor. So cherry wood is what I use on this, and it adds to me cherry notes, but also this peppery, like white pepper, black pepper aspect, as well as a little bit of a caramelized kind of note comes through, especially on cherry wood use.
Yeah, two things that really come to mind for me on this are like a cherry pie and like I want to say like spiced wine, where you actually throw in, you know, like some dried cranberries and a cinnamon stick and some cloves, or, you know, grate a little lemon peel in. Like, you really got that spiciness and that warmness to it, along with that fruity background.
Yeah, totally. That's one of the crazy things about this wine is how much that spice does come through, which lends itself to food pairings. You know, the ones he's mentioned. I also think that any kind of lighter meat, chicken, pork, fowl in general, especially gamier fowl, duck, and whatnot, can go really nice with this, especially if your sauce or seasoning incorporates some spice use like the ones we've mentioned. This can also go really nice with a tomato sauce dish. So pasta is really good with this wine. That kind of richness and a bit of umami this has on the finish. So my life pairing for this is a summer bonfire at the beach or in the redwoods. If there's no fire danger. Right now you wouldn't do that.
Situational pairing.
Yeah, situational pairing. You know, friends playing the guitar, your belly is full of barbecue and wine, you know, a spliff maybe being passed around the fire pit.
It's one of those hippie nights out.
Hippie bonfires. Yeah, that's kind of my bad. And then my literary pairing is from Groucho Marx. And it is Outside of a Dog, a book is a man's best friend. Inside of a Dog, it's too dark to read. And you guys don't know that we already made that joke earlier because you couldn't hear us. That's funny. And then my music pairing for this is Doggy Dog World by Snoop Dogg, featuring the Dog Pound. Yeah.
Who let the dogs out? Alternate pairing. Like, no.
Yeah, that works too. So, yeah. My doggy pairing for this, it being a blend, I felt like a mutt is a really good pairing for this wine. You know, that mixture. Sometimes, you know, a blend or a mutt can be better than the you know, the sum of their parts. Sometimes they make the best dogs and the best wines.
It's the strongest genetics. It's the most balanced and the dogs needed some reassurance. So
we love you guys. We love all of you, pure breeds and mutts. So yeah. So then my original pairing for this was actually one of their dogs, Buffy, a 4-year-old Cane Corso mix. Do you want to tell us about Buffy? You know, I don't want to hog the dogs, Mike. So we're gonna have Marnie come up and tell us about Buffy. And
Let's go talk about Buffy. Okay.
have some more dogs. You're like, give us some dogs on the screen again.
I know,
already.
it's like,
Come on.
woo, yeah. So Buffy is one of our personal favorites. Yet she's not really a vampire slayer, but she came to us as a stray, believe it or not, and she's a Cane Corso mix. So she's a mutt. But she's a big girl. She's probably, I want to say, like, what, 85, 80, maybe 90 pounds?
She's like 70.
Oh gosh, I'm a big fat liar. Okay, so she came into us really fat, but she's lost some weight.
She's lost some weight. She's got a little skin sagging now.
Yeah, now she's but her fur is super soft, and she was in foster during you know, we've had her for quite a while. So back in March, we had a ton of people step up. Thank you,
Yay.
and take some dogs into their homes. So she came back because her thing is she really wants somebody who's at home with her. Yeah. She doesn't like being alone.
She likes her humans.
She likes her humans a lot. So we're looking for someone who maybe, well, a lot of us now work from home. So yeah, work from home or maybe retired, that kind of a thing. She's a big slug though. You just want to binge watch. I mean, that's all she wants to do is hang out on the couch. And she, what else she likes big dogs. She doesn't like the little guys.
No.
So that's another thing. And she definitely no cats. She's unfortunately, she likes cats a little too much, but she's just a lover. Excellent thing. She's actually been sponsored, so her adoption fee has been waived by a loving fan.
So she's totally free.
So she's totally free. We love little Buffy or Big Buffy.
Sounds like a like you were describing those other dogs as lap dogs, and it's a very similar approach to this dog, but more like one of those like Ottoman type dogs. Like you just want to lay down and have you put your feet on him while you guys watch some TV together.
Absolutely. In fact, the shelter, and she likes to sit on your feet. It's really cute. Yeah, she's a sweetheart. Yeah.
Blast. Or another blast if you're feeling like you miss her. Or another.
And how do we know that's what they really look like in real life, Kevin? Maybe they're like dog fishing us or whatever.
Yeah, right. I can't.
So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that third wine and dog pairing. So thank you again, Marty and everyone for Sspca. So yeah, this fourth wine is going to be our V7 Da Vinci's Wings Zinfandel. So yeah, this wine, now we're getting into a little bit heavier style red wine.
Yeah, I'd say a lot heavier.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, the V4, the Pinot Noir Grenache are light red style wines. And so you're not getting that heavy kind of influence. So having that, getting into Zinfandel, you get into a wine that's in prone to more jammy, spicy characteristics. And some versions of Zinfandel can be very jammy. This one happens to go more the spicy direction. You do get some nice purple fruit, some blackberry notes. But for me, you get a lot of spice, and you get a fair amount of acidity and dryness to the wine as well that lends itself to really long finish and a big style wine. So part of that comes from the fact that this is high elevation Zinfandel. So Outer Ottawa County, about 3,000 feet elevation, biodynamically and organically grown.
What does the high elevation do to the wine? Does that make it so the grapes struggle more and are more intense flavor? Does it make it so it happens like I don't really know.
So that higher elevation, a couple things. Cold nights at higher elevation, so it might still be hot in the daytime because it is near Sacramento where we're wicked hot. But at night it cools down.
It's barely 98 there right now.
Right. So it cools down there at night, which helps retain natural acidity, which is why this wine is beautiful, right flavors, but still some good acidity to it. It also tends to retain more tannins, so more of that dryness and weight at higher elevation. I've heard different theories on that. Something about solar radiation gets thicker skins in the grapes. But, there's all sorts of theories. What we know is that it tends to make a more intense, spicy style wine, oftentimes with really good color. I picked this fairly early to keep a lot of the freshness to the wine, to not make it too ripe and jammy. That, in addition to the fact that I aged it then in partly neutral, partly new French oak barrels, get a little bit of oak flavor, and also a little bit of cherry wood, maple wood, and hickory. So you get some of that kind of spicy, molassesy richness from those other woods that really add to the overall flavor intensity on this wine.
Yeah, and a lot of, he uses a lot of different woods, and they add different characteristics to the color, to the flavor, to the aging process. And most people, you kind of can tell, like, oh, this is lemon. It makes it more crisp, more acidic. Cherry, it gives it this nice fruitiness. Hickory, it gives this barbecue-ish smokiness. And then it comes to maple, and everybody's like, oh, I don't really know what that. But if you think about something like maple syrup, or he mentioned molasses, or like dark honey, like a buckwheat honey, it gives you kind of a flavor in that kind of direction. So when you taste that in here, a lot of that is the maple. And then you have also that fruitiness from the cherry and the smoky herbaceousness from the hickory.
Yeah. Someone the other day was joking about how I should do beer pairings for our wine, which I think is a wonderful idea.
Yeah.
And they described some of my darker wines that use maple. They were saying, yeah, you almost feel like this should pair with like a porter or a stout.
Yeah, something with like a high malt level, like things that are real herbaceous. You put it with something with heavy hops, and with this, you want to put it with,
that'd be pretty
like
fun.
Like an amber or like a real dark beer. I could see that.
So that'd be fun. We'll do that for another fundraiser for a brewery. I don't know how that'll work. Anyway, we'll do that sometime.
Save the breweries. No, go ahead. Sorry.
So food pairings for this, my mind goes to, steak is a really great option for this, but also Mushrooms would work really well for this. I think darker sauces, stuff that are kind of more rich soy sauce, hoisin style characteristics.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think the char marks really help. And I really love the mushroom idea on this because it kind of combines some of those different things, the earthiness, the spiciness. So I see that as like a very good pairing with this. Some of those, portobello, shiitake, like you're really kind of like funky, strong umami mushrooms. Get some char marks on them from a grill or a cast iron, and that would be a fantastic pairing with this. And of course, with a good steak is always good, but that's something that you can throw out that's a little more out of the box and is going to work equally well.
So good food pairing options. My life pairing for this is deep woods backpacking with a good friend. So I think this is it's got that smokiness and depth that makes it a really good camping wine.
Yeah, one thing we found as we're doing more of these and trying the different wines and the different food pairings and the woods and the life experiences is they all sort of tend to go together with your light wines, which you would naturally already have in hot atmospheres or near the coast or whatever. You'd want things that grow there like citrus or apple or whatever. And as you get deeper, darker, like this is something that you would enjoy on a cold night. It's kind of a warming type of thing. You'd have it with a red meat and it would grow, and it would be something good for camping, for out in the cold, out in wilderness. And it uses woods from that same type of scenario and would go with things that mushrooms or steak that would kind of grow in those sort of environments as well. So it's very much more like a cold weather experience.
Yeah, and I think
it would go great with kibbles and or bits as well. I think
we've got some kibbles and bits.
More of a bits
in the background. So
they're loving it. They've seen the little taste of the wine here.
All right, I know.
Yeah.
I hear they make wine for dogs too, but it's actually like fake wine. It just comes in a little fake wine bottle, and it's for doggies. Yeah.
We should do that.
Go. All right. So a new product idea. So my literary pairing for this. It's not a quote about dogs. The quote is, "I have always lived..."
From a dog.
Yeah. It's
woof. Woof. No, go ahead.
It's not from a dog. It is from John Steinbeck. And the quote is, "I have always lived violently, drunk hugely, eaten too much or not at all, slept around the clock or missed 2 nights of sleeping, worked too hard and too long in glory, or slobbed for a time in utter laziness."
Slobbered. Go ahead.
Slobbered, yeah, right, doggy style. Yeah,
Whoa.
You know what I mean. I've lifted, pulled, chopped, climbed, made love with joy, and taken my
doggy style. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
And taken my hangovers as a consequence, not as a punishment. So this is from John Steinbeck's book, Travels with Charlie.
With Liberty America. Yeah, awesome on you knowing that, by the way.
I know, I love that book.
Yeah, and I don't know if you knew this fact, but Travels with Charlie, that name references the fact that it was a trip in his RV with his wife's, double check the breed, yes, 10-year-old French poodle, Charlie.
Yes.
So a lot of people don't know that. So when he's speaking to Charlie throughout the book, it's like a kind of rhetorical device he uses throughout the novel. He's actually speaking to a 10-year-old French poodle that his wife lent him for this road trip he took around America in an RV. Yeah. So you didn't.
Truck that's been converted into an RV.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
It's really an incredibly good book. It's one of his least appreciated books that is actually one of his best. Glad you like that too. Yeah. So there you go. That you didn't think I was. You're like, oh, that wasn't a dog related quote. But I snuck it in the back end there with the Charlie thing. My music pairing is by Led Zeppelin, and the song is Black Dog. And my doggy pairing for this is, I thought initially a Great Dane, but ultimately my specific doggy pairing is Harley.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll let you hop up and tell folks about Harley real quick here.
We don't have Harley with us today.
Yeah. We'll bring other dogs. Yeah. Okay, we'll bring more eye candy. Yeah, okay. So, Harley, He's another dog that has our heart.
Mm-hmm.
He's an older guy. He's actually 8 years old, and he's a Doberman mix.
Mm-hmm.
He's huge.
Yeah, he's like 90 to 100 pounds.
He's a big boy.
So he didn't have to wear a car seat anymore, huh?
No. He's so
good to
he's so
go.
flipping big. In fact, you don't even have to bend down. You can pet him. Like if we had actually been able to bring him, his head would have been right here on this counter. He's huge. And he
kind of right into battle. I think that's one of Kevin's life pairings.
He's like he's kind of like a Shetland pony. I mean, he's so big. And he so for Dobie fans, he would be a really cool dog. We're looking for someone who's kind of Dobie savvy, because Dobies are they can be very protective of their people. Yes, they're very unique dogs. He actually lived with another Dobie, so he actually, if you have another Dobie at home, they could become best buds. He's probably a little too intense for kids, so we're kind of looking for maybe an adult home. He's super good on leash, even though he's really big. He's great on leash. Very well behaved.
He's really affectionate.
He does this thing where, like, if you stop petting him, he'll like nudge his head to get more pets.
And he loves to cuddle.
Really cute.
I got a question. Like, hearing you describe it there, I haven't adopted a dog through you guys, or really in any traditional ways. They've always been like strays we picked up type of thing.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you're vetting the people more so than the dog, and just making sure the two like each other, as well as making sure it's a good home. That's more the qualifying process.
Yeah, we look at where we kind of try as much as we can. We get information from the previous owner. So most of the dogs we get are actually owner surrenders, which means that they were with families that can no longer care for them. So we get information from their family, then we test them at our shelter to see what as far as we can tell, their personality is and what environment they would be the most comfortable in. You have figured out our you've figured out our magic formula. That's it right there.
Decoded the
whole thing.
The dog adoption.
Yeah, right. This is our own pairing. So a more mature wine with Harley. Yeah. So we'll go back to the lovely couch.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
The dogs like the couch.
They love the couch.
The ladies seem to enjoy it as well. But
that's it. So we have a wonderful couch. We have these beautiful barrels. The one thing we don't have in here is air conditioning. But yes, the fifth wine we're rolling into is our L8 Wanderlust Red Blend.
My personal favorite, and also our biggest seller.
Might as well use that third glass here just to annoy Jerome. Sorry, we're brothers.
I just make jokes.
We have to like at the very least mock squabble, or else it just doesn't feel authentic. So this wine is another blend. So we have two blends here today. The first one was a really light red blend. This is a really dark, jammy red blend. You've got this, blackberry, almost baked fruit kind of characteristic going on, and that brings in just a lot of richness and depth to the wine.
And since he didn't mention this, the blend is 50% Cab and then 25 each Zinfandel and Barbera. So it is like all of your darkest wines blended together. So the different effects he's going to describe are the different wines lending their, natural flavor profile to this blend.
Exactly. And the Cabernet Sauvignon really forms the backbone of the blend. Cabernet Sauvignon is the backbone of the Great Bordeaux blend. And it has this dry, tannic, dark fruit and herbaceous quality. It also adds this really strong backbone. And then Barbera brings in a really bright fruit, blackberry and plum, but a softer tannin and more acidity. And then Zinfandel brings in more of the jammy, baked, really, really ripe, raisiny kind of components to the wine. So they're natural blending partners that all bring in different aspects and come together. And then I age it on oak again, maple, hickory, but also some charred whiskey oak style. So it brings in some of that smokiness that adds that extra depth and smoky element on top of all that fruit. Yeah.
I got a kind of off course question, but I was thinking about it there, after I described the blend. those other wines, the Barbera or the other varietals, the Barbera and the Zinfandel and the Cab, those all occur elsewhere in your wines, correct? So how is this the highest alcohol percentage of any of your wines? How does that work? Combine three things and then your result is a higher alcohol.
It was the same
content.
grapes from the same year, but I pick it at different times.
Okay, so
And
it's
they
the
go
same
different
grapes, but
blends.
it's not just like you pulled half out of the
Yeah,
barrel.
not necessarily
You
the same
actually
year, yeah.
processed it differently. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this wine in particular, I wanted it
answer.
to be very, very jammy and ripe fruit style to be a very smooth, easy drinking wine. So I picked the grapes at a higher ripeness level, whereas the single varietal wines, amongst winemakers, we talk about like varietal character or varietal correctness, which when you get to really, really ripe levels, it tastes more like ripe fruit than it does like that grape. So for my single varietal wines, I tend to pick them at slightly lower sugar levels and get slightly lower alcohol to keep more of the like varietal character that comes at like medium ripeness rather than really high ripeness. But for a big, just luscious red blend, I wanted stuff that was a little riper. So,
That makes sense.
yeah. So yes, my life pairing for this is being adventurous, traveling, camping under the stars with your dog, that sort of thing, My music pairing for this is by Florence and the Machine, Dog Days Are Over. Especially as our last wine, it seemed appropriate to,
Our dog day is over.
if the dog day is over, it should be the last one. But I do still have the literary pairing, and is again from Groucho Marx. Actually, okay, I have two quotes. I forgot about this. So my first quote is from Phil Pastorette, the author of Our Boarding House. And he says, "If you think dogs can't count, try putting 3 dog biscuits in your pocket and then give him only 2 of them."
I have a really weird aside from this. I've got a
Dogs
friend,
can count.
Terry. Terry, I don't think you're watching today, but I'd like to get in contact with you. Maybe we can publicize some of this. But he literally taught his dog to count and then do some simple math and taps it out like you've seen like some of those animals on like the old
cool.
things, like where he can like go like, I don't remember the dog's name, but he'll be like, "What's 5 minus 3?" And the dog will be like, and then, like, "What's 2 plus 2?" And the dog's like, and he was, last I talked to him about a year ago, he was working on teaching the dog division and multiplication. And he swore, he was like, "Yeah, she knows how to do it. She's got the intelligence. She's just, having a hard time processing some of the like words involved."
That's
or
so
whatever. Cool. Like, but he really he'd showed me some of it, and it was not. It was super convincing. Like, he wouldn't repeat. Yeah. It wasn't like one phrase. Like, the dog knew if he said this word to do that. He wasn't like flashing little symbols.
That's what my mind turns to, right? Is there some trick there where it's like an auditory cue to the dog to do something?
Dude
like
was like a genius. Like, he had a lot of money. He was actually like bought and sold the Bel Air like corporation.
Did that?
Yeah.
Whoa!
In addition
That's
to some
impressive.
simple, no.
Yeah. Okay. So moving on. So my second literary pairing for this is from Groucho Marx, and it is just give me a comfortable couch, a dog, a good book, and a woman. Then, if you can get the dog to go somewhere and read the book, I might have a little fun. And my doggy pairing here is my general dog breed pairing is Burmese Mountain Dog. For being big and beautiful like this wine, but also being laid back and fun. Burmese Mountain Dogs, there's such friendly breeds.
They're kind of
not terribly
sipping dog.
Yeah. So, and then my specific doggy pairing is Ranger, who, do you want to come up and tell us about Ranger? Okay, she's excited about Ranger. All right, we're going to hear about Ranger here in a second.
Ranger, oh my goodness. Okay. The biggest, I would say, Ranger is probably the fluffiest dog we have at the shelter.
Mm-hmm.
So Ranger is a Siberian Husky mix. He is probably so hot today that he might want all of his fur shaved. But he is he's a cool dog. So he's 2.5 years old. And he came into us actually as a stray. So we don't know a ton about him, but we do know he likes other dogs. And he's incredibly energetic. So he has a big personality. Yeah. So he's looking for someone that will take them on a lot, maybe even running when it's not 112 degrees, but
hiking in the winter.
hiking in the winter definitely could be a good camping dog.
So it sounds like he was a good pairing for this
He
wine.
was
Yes,
a very
he
good. He was
was.
spot
Yes.
on for this. Absolutely. And of course,
Mhm.
he's incredibly handsome with those beautiful husky eyes. But I have to say, huskies are incredibly energetic. So you need to have the right personality to go along with their personality. So that's He you huskies usually are not big fan. Well, I should say they really like cats, but they like to focus and stalk them. So so it's probably more of a dog household. Kids might be okay, except that he is very energetic. So
Yeah.
I'd probably say maybe older kids. And he's got the most beautiful tail. It's just like this huge plume of magic.
Yeah,
He's
he almost
gorgeous.
looks
He's
more
gorgeous.
Malamute-y.
He looks much more Malamute than the husky part. Yeah. And he's I'm trying to think, I think he's about 70 pounds, so he's pretty big. He's a big boy. But yeah, perfect pairing. Thank you, Kevin.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad we matched him up.
Yeah, you did.
I was taking a guess based on your description, but
Oh yeah.
it sounds like it really was the perfect doggy match.
Definitely perfect doggy match.
It was a blend. It was an outdoor,
Yeah. Robust.
natural type of robust. Good
Yeah.
descriptor.
Yeah.
So gosh, that kind of finishes up our wines and our pairings for the day. Because we ran a little long because of the audio issue, we'll skip the talking about our subscription boxes and kits today. But just so you guys know, these wine tasting kits, like you've all checked out today, like Jerome has in front of him here, are available on our website. We have all sorts of different themes every week. Very excellent, yes. And this SPCA fundraiser kit is not just available now, but we also have we got one more dog to introduce you guys to. But we also are going to be able to ship you those kits after the fact, and you can check out this video. You can taste these kits after the fact and still order. So, if you're in the future now watching this, then there may be some time travel paradoxes there. I'm not entirely sure how that's working, but basically, we're going to post. You guys can order this and come watch this later. To tell your friends, you get the idea. So do we want to introduce one last doggy or say anything last before we sign out here? Thank you guys again for joining us for this, and we'll see you all again soon. It's going to be a couple of weeks. We're going to be doing a fundraiser for the Sacramento Children's Receiving Home in a few weeks as a collaboration with also sugar-coated cupcakes, your local mobile cupcakery. That's a tongue twister. So we will see you guys again soon. In the meantime, a last little introduction.
Yes, hello guys. So this is JJ. He's 11 years old. He was surrendered to us. He had a lot of medical conditions going on, so he was kind of a hot mess when he came into us. I don't know if you guys might have seen him on our Facebook and Instagram pages, but we had a picture of his before and after photo because he was super matted. Our shelter medicine team shaved him. They trimmed his nails because they were curling under. They were so long. And he actually, you can probably see one of his eyes is a little bit cloudy. He has a little ulcer on his eye, so his vision is a little bit limited. But he's definitely still curious. We had him walking around here, and he was just kind of exploring all the different wines and everything. He actually is really interested in Dulce. He was wagging his tail trying to meet her, so he could be good with dogs. Could be good with cats, too. We don't have too much history on him, but he could be good with small animals.
Dog.
Yes, he is. And it said on our behavior evaluation form that he might be a little shy to warm up to, but I don't think he is at all. So far he's been
really warm.
He came over
really
and greeted
nice.
me right away.
Yeah.
And how many teeth does he have left?
Oh yes, he only has 2 teeth left.
Oh.
So I was feeding him some treats over there on the couch, and I can't really show my mouth, but he was just like trying to
Johnnying them to
swallow.
death?
Yeah. So yes, this is JJ, and he's $110. Oh, and he also qualifies for our senior to senior program, just like Dulce. So if you're senior 65 years and older, you would get that adoption fee waived, and he would be free.
I'm half expecting my mom to order one of these dogs here that had the.
Oh yes, we love him.
Yeah, so these are I've never been big into like tiny dogs, but I don't know. Maybe I just don't hang around them enough because these dogs are super cute.
So
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah.
No, I never used to be a Chihuahua fan, and now I'm like, oh, you're kind of cute.
Yeah. I think I got the false impression that small dogs were always yappy. But the two of these guys are quiet. They're just friendly and like hanging out and like sniffy. They're like really chill. It's like the exact opposite of what I had in my mind of small dogs.
Our cousin got a small Chihuahua, like ironically, and he found the most like yappy, annoying, heel biting dog possible, and he's like, "That's the one," like. But it's nice to see one that's more.
Yeah. the noisiest he gets is a few coughs. Yeah. So thank you guys again for joining us. Thank you for supporting the Sacramento Sspca and our small business. So again, please tell your friends, have them get these kits, and this is going to be live or continue on the internet forevermore. So feel free to share this with your friends for the video, for the fundraiser. And we'll probably do it again in the future. And now that we've streamlined some of the processes, we'll have to do this again next year.